You might be planning to come to Canada pretty soon, and one of your important questions is, where should I open my first bank account as a student? There are so many banks to choose from, and all of them kind of have these attractive offers. Which one should I choose? So today in this video, I want to talk about whether or not it's a good idea to open a student account or your first banking account with Scotiabank. I'm going to give you a rough overview of the benefits and also a bit about the disadvantages, as well as how you can apply for a student account. But before we start, a big disclaimer up front: I am not a financial advisor. Although my first career used to be in banking, I am not a certified financial planner or financial coach. So anything that I tell you about in this video is purely based on my own opinions and experiences. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's start. When I first arrived in Canada, in Toronto, specifically together with my husband about 4 years ago, that was also one of our first questions. We were asking ourselves, where should we open our first bank account? And after just a bit of consideration, because we were rushing to open a bank account, we both opened our first bank accounts with Scotiabank. So my husband, as he was studying here in Canada, had a study permit, so he proceeded to open a student account, and I was here on an open work permit, so I opened a different kind of account. So in general, what were our main considerations in opening a bank account? So this is what I think. When you first arrive in Canada here, what's important is that you want to open your first bank account with a stable, a reliable bank, and that would be, in my opinion, one of the 5 big banks in Canada, which includes Scotiabank, TD, BMO, RBC, and CIBC. The second thing was that we wanted our bank to have a large network and a lot of branches where we can actually walk into and meet people. So as you might know, nowadays there are plenty of banks that only have an online presence. They don't have a branch. For example, Tangerine Bank, with which I also have an account. But that's another story, and I'll make a video about that another time. So in short, banks like Tangerine Bank only have an online presence, and everything goes well, the fees are low. But the thing is that once you have a problem, the only way that you can talk to someone is by calling them on their hotline. So for us, it was just very important that our first bank account had a physical presence, so that if we had any kind of issue, question, problem, we could go straight into a bank and talk to a real human. The third thing that we wanted in a bank is for the bank to have a ton of ATMs all over the city, so that at any time when we needed to withdraw money, it would be easy to find an ATM. The fourth thing that we wanted to have in a bank is for it to have a great online banking system. And I would say that Scotiabank provided it to us. I wouldn't say that it is the best online banking system that I've seen in my entire life. And I know a bit about that because in my former life, in my former career, I used to work in banking and launched an internet banking system once. But anyways, I would say that Scotiabank's online banking system does its job. You're able to easily transfer funds out, receive funds. You have a checkings account, a savings account, and you're also able to open multiple savings accounts within your account. So if you want to separate your savings, for example, into tax savings, holiday savings, emergency savings, and so on, that's very easy to do. The fifth thing that we wanted, and this is a really important thing, is that we wanted to open a bank account with a bank that would make the process for us as newcomers as easy as possible, that would be welcoming and not complicate the process with a ton of documents that we didn't have at that time. And for that, again, a check for Scotiabank. One very small thing I have to add here, by the way, is that because we recently arrived from Asia, from Indonesia specifically at that time, we actually found that the account opening process at Scotiabank just took forever. I can't believe how long it took just to open a simple bank account and an attached credit card. So back in Asia, in Indonesia as well, in Singapore, where I once lived, I would say that the turnover of customers entering a branch is much faster, and the customer service representatives are able to process bank account openings much, much faster. And that's simply because they have such a large volume and they've got accustomed to it. But here, the branches are usually very, very quiet. There are only several customers, but it takes them forever really to get one thing done. But that's a topic for another time. So now let's go go on because now I want to talk about the benefits of opening a Scotiabank student account for foreigners. And for that, let's just jump straight to the Scotiabank website. So on the Scotiabank website, you'll see that there's a thing called the Student Banking Advantage Plan. So this is an account, a worry-free account as they say it, to match your student life. And what you surely want to know is, okay, what does this bank account actually do for me? So these are the benefits that Scotiabank offers to new students who open a bank account with them, a student bank account. So the first thing is that you get a free checking account with no monthly fees. And this is a really big thing, guys. You might think that, yeah, nowadays banks should not have a fee for just a checking account. And even if there were, it should be a very, very small fee. But wrong. The banking fees here, the checking account fees here in Canada are actually, in my opinion, very high. So at Scotiabank, for example, right now I have a regular account. I do not have a student account. And my husband also recently switched to a regular account. He doesn't have the student account any longer. And what that means is that on a monthly basis, we are going to be charged a service charge if our balance drops below a certain amount. So there are various kinds of banking accounts. So depending on what account you have, that minimum might be $3,000 or $4,000. But anyways, if you drop below that balance, you will have to pay a service charge that goes anywhere from $15, $16 up to $20. But to be fair, I must say this is not just with Scotiabank. So most of the other, I would dare to say almost all other major banks have this similar kind of setup. So you have to maintain a certain balance, which is usually around $3,000 to $5,000. And if you drop below that, you will have to pay that ridiculously high service charge. And you don't want to do it, especially when you're a student here and you're not really earning a lot of money or any money yet. So that is where the student account comes really handy because you will not have to pay any fees, zero. So check for that. The next thing is that you also get to do unlimited no-fee international transfers. But guys, before we get too excited, whenever you're about to purchase a banking product or a financial product, always look at the fine print, and that is where we're going to go now. So let's look at the fine print for this point, which is number 3. And here it says that foreign currency exchange rates apply. A transfer needs to be made from an eligible Scotiabank checking or savings account. So although there are unlimited no-fee international money transfers, in the end it may still be expensive or not that expensive to make a transfer depending on the applied foreign exchange at the bank, at Scotiabank here. So before you just go ahead and make use of that no-fee international transfer, I would really urge you to check how much the foreign exchange rate that they use is, because let me tell you, apart from transferring money via a bank like Scotiabank, there are other ways to do this. And one of the ways that I myself recently used a lot to transfer money overseas is an application called Wise. And this was really a lifesaver. It's such an easy way to transfer money, and I just think that I need to make another dedicated video on this because using Wise, the fees are much lower and so on. But anyway, let's just continue first. So the next benefit of the Scotiabank student account is that you will be able to get an unsecured credit card with a limit of up to $5,000. So note here, it's up to $5,000. So it might be $1,000, $2,000, etc. and movie rewards. So I think that this is a really good benefit. I'm sure you know that when you're applying for a credit card, you will need to provide the bank with documents such as your employment letter and your credit history, all the things that you do not usually have as a newcomer. So your question might be, okay, if I just arrived here, how can I possibly get a credit card? So that's the good news here. If you apply for a student account, you will be able to apply for this credit card. And of course, I can't make any promises because I'm not part of Scotiabank, but from what I read from this offer, it seems that they will make it easier for you to get your credit card, even though if you may not have all of these documents you would normally need. But on this note, guys, I want to let you know that there's another credit card here in Canada that it's relatively easy to get as a newcomer because I applied for it myself when I just arrived here, and I'll link the video to that up here. So if you're looking to apply for a credit card here in Canada without necessarily having a bank account attached to it, so just applying for a credit card, and you do not have all these documents yet, then applying for this credit card might be a great solution. So let's go back to the Scotiabank student credit card. Another benefit is the movie rewards, and this is something really exciting that we experienced. So Scotiabank has something that is called Scene Rewards, and attached to that you'll get a Scene card. So what that means is that if you use your Scotiabank card for purchases, I think almost all purchases, there might be several exclusions, you will get Scene points, which later on you can use to exchange to vouchers for shopping or movies. So that was really great, because as students in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of money, but yet we really wanted to go to the movies. And by just using the Scotiabank credit card to make our daily purchases, every few months we were able to go to the cinema and watch a movie for free. So that's really awesome, right? And in case you're not in Canada yet and you're wondering what a movie ticket costs, a movie ticket costs somewhere around $12 to $16. I don't know for sure. And the reason is because we've always been using these Scene points and we've almost never paid for a single movie ourselves. Let's go on to the next benefit, and that is that Scotiabank has secure online and mobile banking. And I already touched on this earlier, so here I'll just say again that overall I think that Scotiabank's online banking system is pretty reliable, it's pretty easy to use, and they also have a Scotiabank app which you can download and which is also very easy to use. The next benefit is, and let's go back to the first page, is that you get unlimited debit and Interact transfer transactions. And this, I must say, is also a great benefit, because unlike in perhaps the country where you're from, where that might be a standard offer amongst banks, here that is not the case. Depending on the type of package you're subscribing to at a bank, you might have to pay a fee for every transaction. For example, with the regular account I have a certain number of free debit transactions that I can make. I don't remember how many, it might be something between 10 to 20, which is not a lot. But once I make an additional debit transaction, then I will be charged a fee. And Interact transactions, for those of you who are not familiar with that, is one of the easiest way you can transfer money to someone else here in Canada. And for that, you simply need their email address. So if you get a student bank account with Scotia, that will be free for you. You will not need to pay. Okay guys, a very short note on interest rates, because this might be something you're wondering about. Depending on what country you're from, your savings account might earn you 1% or 3% or maybe even 4%, which is a considerable interest rate. But over here in Canada, pretty similar to the US, you get almost nothing for your savings accounts. So don't expect that by putting your money into a Scotiabank savings account, you will be able to earn a ton of interest. Of course, from time to time, they have some programs where they will offer you a higher interest rate, like 2%, 2.5% or so, but it doesn't get much more than that. So to summarize, the main benefit of the Scotiabank student account, that is that the package fee for this account is $0. But of course, there is a requirement for that. The requirement for that is that you must be enrolled full-time in a post-secondary institution in Canada or the US. And this goes for both domestic as well as international students. The next question that you might be asking is, okay, how do I apply for this banking account? What documents do I need and how difficult is it? So for that, let's return to the Scotiabank website where they list the documents that you will need. The first important document that you will need is your study permit. And if you're a student, a foreign student here, then this will be no problem. You will usually have your study permit even before you arrive here. The second piece of document is, of course, your ID. So this would be a government photo ID, such as your passport or Canadian driver's license. So if you're a foreign student here, then likely you will be using your passport. And the third document that you will need is proof of enrollment from your Canadian educational institution, such as your student ID card or your course timetable. So I guess that they just want to really make sure that you are actually enrolled and you are studying in a program here. So as you can see, the requirements are very simple. So once you land here in Canada, just go to a Scotiabank branch and make an appointment to see someone to start your account opening process. You can even go on their website and click on this button here that says book an appointment to apply, and even book an appointment online. So overall, I would say that the Scotiabank student account is a good account for new students, foreign students here in Canada. So guys, if you're coming to Canada soon and if you're in the process of packing your stuff and don't really know what to bring, I also have another video here where I talk about what you should bring along with you when you're moving to Canada. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again next time.